Top managers create an environment in which their team members flourish as individuals and thrive as team. So what does it take to make your team want to come to work for you every day, excited to get the work done and ready to tackle whatever problem lies in their way? I'd like to present a list to you. It's non-exhaustive, but there are sort of 8 characteristics that can help you transform from an so-la-la manager into a top manager whose team members flourish and whose teamwork exceeds expectations. Cultivate and demonstrate respect. Respect is the absolute foundation of great team collaboration. Without respect, it's hard to build trust, another super important ingredient. To engage in constructive debate or to enable each person to be their, let's say, whole self. So top star managers both demonstrate respect in the ways they engage with their team members and foster an environment of respect in which each teammate acts respectfully to one another. Meetings, however, are one of the most powerful venues where you can cultivate and where you can demonstrate respect within your team. You may not realize how your actions related to meetings may be perceived as disrespectful. When you invite someone to a meeting whose participation isn't necessary for the meeting's agenda, you're disrespecting his time. I've made another video about that. So when you allow colleagues to interrupt each other, ignore certain voices or shut down debate, you perpetuate a culture of disrespect. Instead, use your meetings to promote respect. Consider, for example, how you might make space for introverts and more quiet participants. You can actually increase participation and get broader thinking. Demonstrate respect by incorporating time for quiet brainstorming in your meetings. You should encourage everybody in your team to write their ideas down on a paper, and that can then be shared with the group or provided to the meeting leader for later. In essence, you've made a public statement that you care about what each person thinks and therefore role modeling one form of respect. Top managers ensure each person on their team feels respected not only by them but by every member of the team. Secondly, super important, provide autonomy, delegate, give them the control. In the workplace, autonomy is complicated because it can take so many different forms and must be balanced with the demands or constraints of the role and organization. So autonomy can manifest in the following ways. When you work, so it's timing, where you work, that's all about the place. What work you do, so do you get to choose on which projects you want to work? How you do your work, who you work with. Can you choose the teammates or are they actually set? And there's even more to go. And as a top manager, it's your job to figure out what kind of autonomy matters most to each of your individuals and do your best to cater to those desires. So you need to find a way to develop a connection with each of your direct reports, each of your team members. That's critical. You don't have to be friends, of course, but you do need to have a relationship with each person in which you know them beyond their role on your team. It's far easier to have challenging conversations, provide and receive feedback and address problems when you have a healthy relationship to build on. Relationships at work, especially between a boss and their team members, should, of course, maintain a level of professionalism. But talking about kids, pets, hobbies and weekend activities, I think that's all okay, right? Appreciation. You need to show that. Super important. Top managers are meaningful, authentic, and they show gratitude in ways their team members appreciate. How's that? So we all heard the argument that goes something like, well, they get paid, isn't that appreciation enough? Getting paid is essential, but appreciation is equally important. When done inadequately, appreciation can seem disingenuous. Given we all have a preferred method of appreciation, what can seem like a simple act of gratitude may unintentionally backfire. For example, one colleague may love the spotlight while another one really hates it. So when you understand how each of your team members prefers to be appreciated, you can say thank you in big and small ways that are meaningful to them, which translates into the improvements in team collaboration and, of course, business results. If you just think of the working life, on average, 1/3 of your life you spend on the job. So what a difference it can make when someone comes to work and they find not only satisfaction, but also enjoyment in what they do and the environment in which they are doing it. As a top manager, you have influence over that. So as you build a connection with each employee, you can learn what motivates them and what work they find satisfying and what aspirations they have for their future. Finding enjoyment in work typically comes from both feeling engaged in the work itself and comfortable in the environment. So to help your colleagues find satisfaction from the work they do, generally enable them to be in positions where they can lean into their strengths and really shine. So in a nutshell, top managers both cultivate an appropriate atmosphere and hire for the fit. Hiring on this way does not mean only hiring one kind of person and ignoring diversity. Rather, it means celebrating diversity and hiring people who will enrich the environment instead of fight or dilute it. Super important, and I'll have just designed a course for it, it's communicate effectively. It's one of the key pillars of being a top manager. You must be an expert in communications. You deliver good and bad news, you explain challenges, you confront with conflicts, and you share information upwards to leadership and downwards to your teammates. You communicate with individuals and groups via meetings, email, chat, text, virtual, videos, and documents, whatever. In every case, it's your responsibility to share the right information at the right time in the ideal format with the right people so that everyone can do their best work. It's so important, let me say it again. It's your responsibility to share the right information at the right time in the ideal format with the right people so that everyone can do their best work. I have created an on-demand course just on the topic of communication because I believe communication is key to everything you're doing as a manager. If you don't get your message across, you will fail. An expert communicator, but not also only tells, he also listens. So as a top manager, you need to constantly pay attention to what your colleagues and direct reports say, and of course what they don't say. So top managers, they ask great questions to seek understanding before judging. Through dialogue and inquiry, you are able to bring out the best of your team's thinking. As always, you need to invest in your team. And not specifically in the whole team, but also into the individuals. Top managers see learning as an opportunity to enhance not just the individual, but the team as a whole. So when you invest in your people, you enable them to grow their skills and capabilities to improve their work or take on greater challenges. And also super important, you always put the team first. This may be the hardest thing for a manager to do, but it's also what separates a good manager from a top manager. Top managers adapt their management style to what each individual team member needs. What works for one team member does not necessarily work for another. And to do this well, you must understand and respond to the individual needs of each team member while keeping an eye out for the well-being of the team as a whole. You as a top manager have the mindset of asking, so what does my team member need to be successful with this? You try to set each person up for success, which sometimes means giving very specific instructions and sometimes means simply pointing someone in the right direction. And knowing when to do each is a management skill that develops over time, and it's combined with a deep understanding of each team member. So putting the team first also means figuring out how to remove roadblocks, shield the team from unnecessary stress, and viewing success as a result of the team's work. Top managers take risks to support the team, they own their mistakes instead of blaming, and they raise challenges to upper management to help remove roadblocks or increase resources so the team can succeed. So if your team knows you go to bat for them, they're far more likely to be willing to go to bat for the team. These are just a few things a top manager does. In future videos, I will take each topic and we'll just dig deeper into it. But like many things in life, it's a learning journey. It's an ongoing journey. Make sure that you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel so you will get updated every now and then when I upload a new video. If you have any questions, happy to take your comments down below and make sure I'll answer them. Have a nice day.